Okay, well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We had a request to do a front engine tutorial, so I'm kind of gonna write you down for you. But we do front engine stuff a ton of different ways, and as everybody knows, this is Spinmaster's front engine chassis. Uh, this is just how they do it. So there's this option if you want front engine, you can just do it this way. But there's options when it comes to this, because we've done this particular chassis several different ways. This way, as you see on our Stone Crusher, it's just normal, detailed up, the front engine chassis. But what we have also done is, and what anybody else can do too, is this configuration. You can see that we added zoomies to the build. This is the same chassis as you just saw, and I'm sorry about the camera focusing and whatnot, but this same chassis you just saw, and all we did was we added zoomies sticking out the side. So that there's a way you can use the front engine chassis that Spinmaster does and just modify it a little bit, and there you go. And also, this is the new bog hog, and we used the normal Spinmaster front engine chassis on this guy too, and as you can see, we took apart a trashed chassis that we had, and we added the actual front engine to this chassis. You do have to do a little work and make things smooth and flat in here to be able to get that on there. But here's another way you can use the front engine chassis that Spinmaster already does, and just with a little modification, give it a whole new look. And then this is what the tutorial is really about. It's this type of front engine chassis. It's turning the body around, doing the things, and making it a front engine. Max D's are really easy to do it on, and any SUV body is really easy to do it on. Basically all you're doing is you're flipping the body around backwards, and you're cutting away pieces of this chassis until your body fits correctly. And that's exactly what we did to this one. This is basically nothing but cutting off the top of this chassis, including the rear shocks. As you can see, the front ones are not cut or anything like that, and you just slam the body down on it, and it looks great. It works fine. There you go. But we've done this process different ways. This is another one that we did, and as you can see, we set this body a little higher so we have more shock showing, and you can see the spacing in here on the rear. But again, this is just chopping the chassis down, flipping the body around on everything, and putting it back on. We've done it this way. This is our Excalibur. This is an old Hot Wheels casting, and we flipped this one, flipped everything around. There's a whole lot of modification here that I'm not going to show you because it took a lot on here, but we did the same thing. Cut the top of the chip, but you're basically cutting the driver's compartment out of the roll cage and some of the rear shocks. As you can see, I had to cut holes in the bed to get these. This is the front shocks actually sticking up, and I had to cut a bunch of some supports, and I actually had to widen the front of this deal. If you can look, I'm giving you away secrets here. You can see where I had to push it out, but I had to make it look, this thing looks, I think it looks awesome. It might be one of our better trucks, as a matter of fact, as far as our custom goes. And I'm trying to stay focused, guys, I'm sorry. But, yeah, that's another way to do it. on these. And this is the Max D Fire. As everybody can see, this is the one this is the one that came with the playset. It's not an OG. Thank you, Spinmaster, for re-releasing things. But here again, this is what I did. I don't like cutting away the shocks. I like for you and me and everybody else to be able to see the shocks and whatnot. So I didn't cut away anything other than the driver compartment of the roll cage on this one. But what I did do is, again, I took a trash chassis and I extended the rear shocks to fill up this space in the back. So you don't have a space there. If you look on this one, you can tell. See, I've got a tremendous amount of space here. I don't know if you can catch it up on camera. But you can see the difference between the shocks. So I extended everything on the, well, this is now the rear, but it was the front, to fill up the space and get everything looking a little bit more the way I wanted it to look. And then there's also this. You can swap around a regular truck to front engine, and this one's a little special. Actually, this is actually the rear, and this is the original front and original rear. If you can tell, I don't know if you can actually tell on camera, you can see how far the front wheels are sticking out. Purposely did that. And what I did with this one was this same type of thing that I was telling you before. I totally cut everything off the front. You can tell that I've got rear sway bars and things, and totally cut everything off the cage. Even cut the driver, as you can tell. You can see I've got the driver still in there. Hope at least it's focusing. Trying. I've still got the driver in, and what I did was I cut everything off the top of the roll cage, and cut the driver out, the compartment out, the engine out, and I flipped everything on the chassis so I could get this longer wheelbase sticking out. That's why the front wheels were sticking out instead of hanging out the back. See, but I did that also to be able to keep the integrity of the roll cage back here. So when you do a pickup body like a Loco here, and you want to keep all of this stuff, you don't want to chop all of that. Most of that stuff gets chopped away if you use an SUV body or a Max D body to do this. But I just took everything apart and just rearranged it and fixed it to where it all came together. So again, everything cut off the top of the roll cage, everything cut off the top of the chassis, and flipped around with the body to get this. And I think this piece turned out great. This is one of my favorite Locos that we've done. And I think if you guys look close enough, you'll see where the cuts are and where we put things back together and whatnot. But this is one of my favorite Locos. And then there's other things you can do too. This is one we just completed. I'm pretty happy with this one. This is a total blitz job. I cut the chassis completely apart. I had sides laying out, front, all the cross pieces, everything, and I started on the chassis. Yes, it's flipped around, so the motor is in there, and I just started putting pieces of chassis back together. This is the actual front of the chassis. Then I put the motor on, and then I just started piecing everything back together. I was trying to do something really cool, really different. Always trying to push the envelope here and do different stuff, but I just started piecing everything back together. I think it came together really well. I stuck the shocks up at an angle. I was going to try to do, and I'm still going to try to do it a little later, a cantilever type suspension that Bigfoot used to run. But I didn't figure it out quick enough to do this, and I was just excited once I started seeing it. But yeah, the roll cage just completely cut apart into a bunch of different pieces, and then I pieced everything back together and put this guy together. So there is just another way you can turn everything into a front engine. And the basic tutorial of it, I mean, it's really simple, guys. I'm doing this alien invasion here. I'm gonna nitro neon alien invasion. We're gonna do it. All I'm gonna do is take this body off. Everybody knows how to take a body off. Just unscrew it. I'm not giving a step-by-step watching things. Wow, a long screw in there. But we're going to take this chassis and you're trying to flip it, right? So I can tell you the first thing I'm going to do is I'm probably with this, especially with this body, because you see how far forward it's going to set if you go back in with the same screw. The body's going to set way forward on the chassis. You guys can see that. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a little body nut modification. This little tab right here, this little peg, is going to go away. I'm going to cut it out of the body. And I'll probably end up cutting these pieces out too, because they just get in the way of fitment. I want that body to sit right there, and that means that where the screw goes in the body is right on the driver's head. So what I'll end up doing is, no offense, cutting this guy's head clean off, drilling a new hole so I can mount that body where I want it to be, which would be more, uniform, wheel wells lined up with wheels and tires, and we're there. And I'll cut off this so I can lower the body. I want to get the body as low as I can, which is another reason for cutting these off. These will keep your body mounted way up high. But we will get rid of that, and what we're going to do is we will make cuts. I will make a straight line cut right across here, just right across here, and I'll use a Dremel or a jeweler's saw or whatever's working best that day. Sorry about the focusing, guys. Whatever's working best that day, but I'm going to make a straight cut across here, and I'm probably even going to take this down a little bit further and cut it off, but I will drill a new hole right here for my mounting screw, just because that's me and how I want the body to set. But as you can see, I think you can see that where I want the body to set is right on top of the driver's head, and that's going to line everything up a whole lot better when we put the roll cage back on, and with that lined up on the top of it. See, everything is, wheel wells are lined up. Wheels will line up inside the wheel wells, and that's what I'm after. I'm not looking for something that's crazy off and all of that stuff. But as far as this goes, this body is up pretty high, kind of like Max D is, and it's going to be more like our 20th edition. You see on this one, I barely cut anything off of the rear shocks to get him to fit right. So what will happen here is I will cut, I should put that back on there. I will cut right at the top of the driver compartment here. I'm sorry about focus, guys. I'm tired. But I'll cut about right here, so this is all flush and flat. These are unneeded. That's one of the best things about when you're using an SUV body or a Max D body or even this Alien Invasion body. You can get rid of this stuff and you don't have to put it back on. But I will probably cut everything right here, and I might have to cut the very tip top of the shocks off to get everything to set right. But what you need to do if you're going to try this is just trim a little bit. just trim a little bit at a time until it's all about where you want your body to set and how you want your body to set. I like mine to set as low as I can possibly get them. So that's what I'm going to end up doing here. So I don't know. I'm expecting this thing to set down in here like this somewhere. So I might not have to cut anything off of these shocks on the rear, but if I don't like it and I'm looking at it and thinking that I might need to do something like we did here with and extend these shocks, I'm probably going to end up doing what I have to do on the chassis to get the body even lower. Beauty part about this body is I can always cut a little bit off of the mounting point on it because it's plastic and drop it. I'm going to get this thing down as low as possible to fill up the wheel well with the shocks. So as you can already see, the top of these shocks are right here, which means right here. So yeah, I might end up cutting a bunch off these shocks, like that much off the top of them to get everything to fit right. Or what I might do is I might end up cutting the body and having the shocks stick up out of the front. I don't know. Whatever it hits me while I go. You can plan out a build all you want, and it's never gonna end up going the way you want it to. So it's constantly changing. But the basic gist of it, guys, is I cut these things off the bodies to get them out of my way, so I don't have to worry about them. And basically, all you're really doing is cutting this portion from here to here, and these bars off of the chassis. You might have to do something in here with this. I mean, their screw holes still line up, but you see how the body sets. It sets a little wonky for me. If you don't mind, go ahead. Knock yourself out. We've mounted some without redoing the mounting hole. But see where the motor sets way back here. That's why I move the mounting hole and move everything backwards. But if you want to do it and knock one out, and the Max D bodies are great for this. You take this portion from here up off of the roll cage, take these off, and you might have to do a little trimming to the rear shocks to get the body to set, whichever body you're using to set the way you want to. And you might have to cut these front pegs off. You might want to cut the rear ones off. It does whatever you've got to do. You can at least trim these. The problem is if you don't, because of this, which is like the fuel cell and whatever part in front, they do hit. So it's going to hold your body way up there like that. So trimming them off is a great idea regardless of how you're doing it. But that, number one, that's your body work. Cut those two things, trim them, whatever, and then it's just a matter of here to here, all the bar, taking it off, and then what I would recommend is just take a little bit off the rear shocks at a time until you get your body setting the way you want to. And keep in mind, like I said, you're gonna be setting somewhere around in here. Your motor's gonna be way back, and if you don't mind how that looks, we've done trucks like that where they're set back pretty far. But you can also remember you can change body mount location. You just got to cut your driver's head off and drill a hole. But that's basically the gist of how to build one of these. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. And as a matter of fact, it's pretty easy to do. Just experiment with it. If you got a thrashed Spinmaster that you can just cut apart, we do, because garage sales, and you find them and their axles are all messed up. We buy a bunch of parts too, but there's a bunch of different ways to do this, guys. You can see that right here. You you gotta build it for you, man. Don't build it for nobody else. You're building it for you, and don't let nobody tell you no different. But many different. My recommendation is just try it, see where you're at, see what you got going on, and just play that. All of these came from us just playing with it, and sometimes it don't work. And I've thrown a million chassis and a million roll cages away where stuff didn't work, especially when I was trying this dude right here. But you just get in there and try it out, man. And good luck with it. Get out there, just customize, make it your own. Do your thing. Trying to angle my camera around if I can get her to go. But just do your thing. Try all the new things. Try it out. Everything. Diggers Diecast and Diecast Authentic are the guys that I believe that introduced this method. These front engines, doing the front engines this way. Those guys are awesome. If you haven't seen them, go over to Instagram, Diecast Authentic, Diggers Diecast. Check those guys out. They do amazing stuff. But that's a little tutorial. Me sitting here cutting on a chassis and stuff like that seems kind of boring. Because sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Just get you a good saw or just use a Dremel and get a good sharp X-Acto knife to clean up your edges and you'll be fine. But so that's my little tutorial. I'm sorry it's not hands-on. Like I said, it'd just be boring watching me do that. And I'm sure somebody else has already made one other than us. But we had a request and wanted to get a video out for you. If there's any other build stuff you want to do, or if you want to actually me do one of these things, a video of me actually doing it from start to finish, let me know in the comments and we'll knock it out for you. But get out there, get building, get collecting, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. See ya.